Is it okay?
We have two candidates who are both in the room, and we will start with Jennifer. Let's see one. Jennifer, you come up to the table. And
Morning.
Good morning.
O.C. McDonald.
McDonald.
Nobody gets away from it.
I had some caffeine this morning too. Never a good idea. We'll go around the room and introduce ourselves, starting with Tara.
Hi, Sam. Nice to meet you too.
Tara has the auction, public sale auction.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Mike Malinsky, photographer.
Oh, I actually work with both of you.
I'm Rachel Levine. I'm a realtor and also in advertising and branding.
Sarah Sterling, you know me.
Dave Finger, former engineer at Midhudson Cablevision, now retired.
Andy Howard, board attorney. Jim Calvin, Calvin Communications, Malaysia.
And I'm Mike Tucker. I'm the president of Columbia Economic Development. Welcome.
I'm Riley. I'm the admin assistant at CEDC.
He's Tereshik and I'm the administrative supervisor.
All right. So if you would tell us a little bit about yourself and all these, your many accomplishments here.
The scattered resume. Sure. Well, I've been in Columbia County since 2011, which is when I met my now partner, but I became a full-time resident in 2013. And like so many Columbia County residents, sort of had to reinvent myself when I got here. Came from New York City, where I worked primarily in financial services. And before I met my partner, knew that I was done with that life and was already committed to reinventing myself, but I was in grad school at the time studying food systems. So then I met my farmer husband, and my next stop became Columbia County. So my background in the city was financial services, mostly product development, but I had a trading background in equities and foreign exchange. I knew that I never wanted to work in an office again. And so came up here and finished grad school, was going back and forth, and we had some kids. So I spent a few years focusing on the kids, and then decided it was time to get a job, and knew I wanted to stay local, didn't want to go to Albany, didn't want to do a 9 to 5, Monday to Friday job, and wanted to be a part of the community. So we literally walked around our village and looked at empty buildings and said, what can we do? There's so many empty buildings, and picked one and bought it. And 2 months later, COVID hit. So we spent the COVID years redeveloping this property. The scale of the project sort of changed because COVID blew the budget out of the water. And the property is now an active 9-room hotel inn. It's a 13,000 square foot property. It's 200 years old. We have still one big development layer left to do on the project, but the inn is operable, and that's where I work now. So my husband's a full-time farmer in the village, so we're both local. We have 3 kids. They currently all go to IGBA. I don't know, we spend our life doing sports and hotels and farming and not much else.
What do you think of daylight savings time? 3 kids in school.
There's never enough sleep, and we just got a new puppy, so we're not sleeping. Yeah, that's me.
How's the occupancy at the inn?
Right now, very slow. We opened in late April, and we did not tell anyone. It was just word of mouth through April and May while we sort of just figured out how to be innkeepers. And then we started really advertising in June, and August was super busy. October we did 72 rooms in October. Our minimum goal is 90 rooms a month. Our capacity is 270. We know we won't get to 270 without food and beverage, but we'd like to get to 90. We sort of looked at these first, 2023 is not really being predictive of what it was, because we were, constantly tweaking and advertising and getting word of mouth out. So we're looking at 2024 as being more, okay, maybe this is what it will look like without food and beverage. January, February, and March are really bad, like really, really slow. And then it looks better. But we're finding actually surprisingly that most of our reservations don't come that far in advance. They're within 3 weeks of arrival, which was a big surprise to us. But again, it already looks like October is going to be our busiest month, which is, I don't know, not what we thought.
Yeah, that's-
Food and beverage is the next frontier.
That's the next frontier. The original budget included the full build out for that, but we spent it all on the first round of development. So the basement level is going to be a full tavern, and the construction down there is more than 80% done. All the heavy lifting is done. The remainder, the big financial output is on the kitchen equipment. So that's really the holdup on that.
Yeah, I think one thing you told me about that people are coming now for a destination weekend in Kinderhook because there's so many little restaurants and her place to stay at. And I thought that was
It's the perfect weekend.
People found it, I
It's the
know, in the
perfect
last
weekend.
5 years, people found Kinderhook.
Yeah, it's having its moment for sure.
And the museum is back on track, the Shaker Museum project, so that'll help.
Yeah, everything in Northern Columbia County is awesome. And Kinderhook is, has a great location really close to the Berkshires and Hudson. So it's that nice, no matter which direction you want to go, we're a nice place to stay.
And we did a loan for the bookstore right next door. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Martha worked with them.
Are you familiar with us, what we do?
Not firsthand, but yeah, through different friends and,
Okay.
yes. But feel free to elaborate.
Probably more.
Well, we do a lot of loans. You could explain the loan committee.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's, I mean, I
That's the
think,
part I'm most familiar with.
I think a lot of people don't understand how involved in the county. I think it's Mike's experience and network also, and so.
Well, the organization's been around for at least 30 years of active stuff. It's got a hit. If you go back to the state, they think we were here for 60 years, but my understanding is there were some years where in the early days that we had a gap. But at least the last 30 years, it's been a very active organization. We have a budget of about $1.2 million, and this is for your benefit as well. And we have a staff of 6. We do provide concierge services to existing businesses, new businesses that are looking to locate here, or businesses that are expanding. We assist a lot of businesses with state and businesses and not-for-profit organizations with state grant funding through the Regional Economic Development Council process. The county provides us with about half of our funding so that they don't have to have an economic development office within county government because we're a not-for-profit local development corporation. They contract with us for services. We have been their chief principal advocate for broadband, now housing. We're looking at various brownfield projects on behalf of the county, as well as workforce development, childcare. And we find that we get a lot of inquiries from businesses and not-for-profits that if we can't help them, we can refer them to some other resource that might be able to assist them. And we work very closely with the college, Questar, and the 6 school districts, and the New York Workforce Development Office that's headquartered at the college on workforce training and development. But we also have a $3.5 million small business loan fund that's comprised of county funds as well as small business micro lending from the SBA. We recently received a $350,000 grant from the state to be able to provide micro enterprise grants up to $25,000 to small businesses where either they have to have 5 employees or less, including the owner, and the owner either has to have a low or moderate income status or employ people who fit that qualification. We recently, last year we did close to $1 million in loans, and they're 5 to 7 year loans. And generally you can have a credit score at 600 above. So it's meant for smaller businesses that are trying to grow to the point where they can establish banking relationships with traditional banks that might not be willing to lend them money in the beginning because of the risk of the startup.
Yeah, we experienced that.
Or a small business. And then, we work closely with the 18 towns and 4 villages in the county, providing them with economic development support and structure. And I work very closely with Kinderhook on their $2 million New York Forward grant.
I was part of it,
Yeah, that's where I met you. I didn't know, I didn't remember where I did that.
but you voted against my project.
You did.
You voted against all private projects.
We voted as the mayor directed, not directed, but I think it was difficult because I'm not sure, I think the state learned a lot from that project because in a small community, why did that business get 100,000 and my business didn't? And my answer was because you didn't apply and you didn't participate in the process. So after the fact, it was hard to make that assertion. But what they found is in most of the communities, the leadership of the community didn't want to take that risk, so they directed all of the money to municipal projects, which wasn't the intent of the program.
Right. And so that was not fun.
You don't harbor any hard feelings against.
No, I mean, it was a learning process and learning how, this big entity of the state that has, its intentions and its goals, and then it filters down to the local municipalities, and you want projects to be locally driven. So the concept of incorporating the feedback of the mayor and the LPC should happen, but it just came to, in that instance, the state's goals and the local goals conflicted. They were completely opposite each other. And so we were brought in before the application process, the village application process started, and they won the money based on, in part, my project, and then threw us out of the process. And so it definitely created, a really uncomfortable situation for everybody in the village, like as neighbors, the private property owners feeling like we were, baited and switched. And then the neighbors feeling like, well, these are public funds, they should go to public processes. And I know there was like a missing overlay of someone to guide the municipality through it. I think that there was some gracefulness that was lost there, and that the local community, suffered as a result of it.
And it would have been actually better if the state had made the final decisions, not the.
Well, they are. I mean, the state rejected the slate, and then I guess we're still waiting to hear
How it's going to work.
Yeah. I think that the community, should feel good about a process like that. We're being given our tax dollars back, and that wasn't the result, and that was unfortunate.
So Jennifer, in those early days when you were wandering around the village of Kinderhook, looking at all the empty buildings, what ultimately gave you the confidence to invest all that money and all that energy and all that time into opening a business?
Right. I'd be lying if I didn't say Jake, my husband, was a huge part of it. He's, I'd say farmers have the highest risk tolerance of anyone you'll ever meet. Like that, they gamble on things they can't control, like the weather. And he's an eternal optimist. And our risk tolerances are very different and very risk averse. And so if the two of us could negotiate, like putting our children's futures on the line to do this, at the end of the day, we came through it thinking like this, it makes so much sense for the village. Like it's such a need. Lodging was such a huge need, and the heart and soul of the village just love this property. Like everyone who ever stepped foot in this property just feels so good about it that we felt this like overwhelming, goodwill. And we felt that also from like the village trustees and the planning board and all of the, administrators as we would talk to them about our project. So there was a lot of like just really good sentiment supporting it. And then it fit our life so perfectly with what I wanted to do and where I wanted to do it, and the stage, like seeing it the next 10 years and where our kids will be, and they can get off the bus and, come to my office. And we just feel like it was something that almost, like it had to be done. It just had to be done. And if not us, why not us? I don't know, just all of that combined.
And at what point did you become interested in serving on this CEDC board?
Well, when I got the phone call. I hadn't considered it until Sarah called, so.
I think Sean Sawyer recommended her, and he's been on some committees with you or something, so.
Talk about people who get state money, right? A lot of.
Yeah. Right. So in grad school, I actually did research on state funding and how learned about the innovation clusters, and this was all like going back 10 years or whatever. So when you called, I was like, oh wow, this is actually coming full circle, and something I was doing research on in grad school. In grad school, it was more of looking at food systems and how much of the money doles down to agriculture and related things. But now is to be in a local community and be a part of building it is kind of a good opportunity. I think back when I moved here in 2011 and you could buy any property on Warren Street for $1 million, and Chatham was a ghost town and Kinderhook was a ghost town, and you see everything that's happened now, and it's come so far, and now it's an opportunity to help get it to the next stage. So our kids want to stay here. How could you say no?
All right, do you have any other questions for us, or any other questions?
Question, do you serve on any other boards?
No.
All right, well, thank you.
Okay.
Nice to meet you.
Do you want me to stick around?
You can stay or not. Kristen, you want to come forward? Kristen, Good morning.
Good morning.
You want to hear everybody's go around again.
Very good. I have a business in Hudson and then I live in Florida. So, yeah, I know your business.
Christian knows me. Yep. My introduction.
Rachel Levine. I would so work with Hinken Realty in Germantown, and I live in Germantown.
Yes.
Sarah Sterling.
Dave Finger.
Andy Howard, I'm the board attorney. Jim Calvin?
I'm Mike Tucker, I'm the president of CEDC.
I'm Mary, I'm the admin assistant.
I'm Richard Roshik and I'm the administrative supervisor.
Nice to meet you. Goodbye.
And we need to meet these.
Yeah, and I'm Steve Hannenberg. I work on the loan program with Mark.
And I'm Martha Lane. Nice to meet
Nice to meet you.
So Kristen is the owner operator, I don't know what you'd say, Coyote Flaco, which
That's correct.
many of us have been to. So tell us a little bit about.
Well, my father started the business around 16 years ago. I took over 5 years ago the business. I've been with my father next to him in the business and the restaurant all my life since I was like 15 years when I came to this country. I went to high school in Portchester, in Westchester County. I did other jobs, like I was working in kitchens for other restaurants, like for Italian, French. What else can be? The more experience I have is from this business that I'm being here in the community in Hudson. I live in this community 12 years. Claverack.
Right.
It's little 10 minutes from here, I think. I don't know why they don't take it. Why Claverack is not part of Hudson? Because when I said I have a restaurant in Claverack, where is that?
Right.
That's what I want to say. No, it's in Hudson. Mike knows me. I think I'm very popular at the restaurant. People know me. I didn't know about the committee, what you do, anything like that. I was looking online, like told me a little bit. I want to see how can I help? How can I learn more from this?
And how long has the restaurant Coyote Flaco been there?
16 years with my father.
Yeah.
And is there just one?
We do.
I know, I've seen another one. I was gonna ask the same thing.
With my family, with my uncles, we are 7.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
One in Massachusetts.
Yes, that's what I've seen.
Connecticut.
Yeah.
On this one, only it's not
Yeah.
a franchise or chain or.
Every restaurant has their own
Okay.
owner. Yes.
Same name.
Oh, so it is a franchise in a way.
All
Pretty much in your
It's all
family.
family.
It's all family.
I didn't realize you had so many.
Yes, we are.
That's nice.
And I know you've tried to expand the restaurant. You've had a couple directions you were going. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you were trying to do and what kind of pitfalls you've had?
Yes, of course. Well, the dream of our family is expand the business name. So we have some ideas. For example, we have the food truck that we want to put. We want to maybe open a new restaurant. We see maybe empty spaces here, and we want to expand. Like we want to put another restaurant because I think we have good food, we have good environment. So, and we are very known. People that know the restaurant, they can tell you that we are very, I don't know if Mike knows the restaurant. I see you, Victoria.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, and I want to do some renovations in the property. I just bought a property 2 years ago. It was hard at the beginning because nobody wants to give me a credit. So I have to have some saves I have some saves and saving money in my country. I have to bring all that money from my country. But I made it. I bought the property. But right now I'm stuck because I had the money to buy the property, but I don't have the money to renovate the place. And it needs a huge renovation. The way I want to see it, I want to do a new look the restaurant. So in front of the customers.
The new look in front where you are at right now?
Yes.
Did you buy the corner property up where the wine store is? Like,
that's my father's.
okay, so your
My
father.
father bought 10 years ago.
And so you guys were trying to move there. So
Which
was that
wine?
So can you just elaborate more on that?
Yes, my father wanted to buy the property that the restaurant is right now. He couldn't. So he had the opportunity to buy the post office, the six pack place.
Oh, yeah, where the salmon shop is, yeah.
Yep.
So he plans to move the restaurant to that store, to that place. Where is the bakery, where is the feed is right now.
Yeah.
But we went to the meetings, to the cloud zoning, and it was so complicated. Septic system.
Yeah.
It was so complicated. My father just gave up and said, no, you know what, I'm too old for this, maybe you can do it. But I think it was too small for me, that space. So that's why I put more effort to buy the property.
So during COVID, because I was happy to see you didn't shut down during COVID, what were the challenges for you? How did you get through COVID?
Well, my father was scared. My father was like, damn, my father was, no, we can. So I took over and said, no, we can do it. Well, we did take out and deliver. I did more online services. So we up to technology.
And you were able to retain your employees because that's so much of the
I did.
challenge.
I did. It was a new, for example, some of the people that work from front, I have to train them one more time to work in the kitchen, cook. So it was a new innovation. It was a new, give us new ideas for the restaurant. I think we did good.
I gotta say, I think one of the clever ideas that he did during COVID that my wife loved, because my son and my wife both have respiratory issues and are very sensitive to all that. Christian got these little greenhouses on the outside part where the picnic tables were usually at. So you had your own little area to eat. So you could still sort of dine in and all that. And we made a habit going there as much as we could during COVID because it was awesome. You know, you felt safe, felt private, and you're still getting the restaurant experience.
People were scared. People were scared of going out.
That was I feel it was pretty innovative.
How many hours a week do you devote to working at the restaurant?
How many days?
How many hours a week?
Oh, I think since I wake up. So I'm there at the restaurant since 9 a.m. until 10 p.m., 11 p.m. Of course, I take my breaks most of the time.
Do you have enough time to attend meetings of the CEDC if you're elected to the board?
Oh, yes. I can make some time.
Okay.
Yeah.
No problem. Well, I like to be there just because. I call it my brother.
Okay, any other questions or questions for us or?
No. I don't have any questions.
Okay, everybody set? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet both of you. Nice to meet you.
Thanks, Jennifer.
And I guess we're going into executive session. Need a motion for that?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
I'm not on the.
33 with Dave and Tara.
Yeah.
All right, do I have, we've introduced some candidates. Do I have any motion to nominate either of them for position on the board?
Make a motion to nominate Christian.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, any other motions? All right, the minutes of February 27th.
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Annual meeting planning bylaw review.
The first item on the annual meeting, as I mentioned, we are going to go to the falls. Chef Danielle from Georgia Ray Kitchens will be the caterer. Jim and I are finalizing the speaker. We're 6 weeks from tomorrow, so we need to get the speaker this week. But Riley has finished the sponsorship letters. Who's been in the sponsorship letters, anyone who's been a member, who had been a member since 2016 but had not rejoined. If you just rejoined, we're going to send them out to lower level sponsors or lower level members, but he gave us $2,500 for not asking you to be a sponsor. So, and then the other item is we have on the agenda the amended and restated bylaws, which have to be approved by the full board before we can submit them to the membership at the meeting. I believe we went through these line by line at our last meeting, but put it off for 2 weeks or 3 weeks so that all of you had a chance to review it. Andy and I went through and cleaned it up. We conformed a lot of the provisions that related to the public officers and open meeting law, so they were consistent and conformed to each area of the document where they were listed. I think we did add we created a new ex officio board member position for the director of the Columbia Green Workforce Investment Board. And as I recall, Andy,
we also
separated the finance and audit so that it conformed to instructions from the state authority budget office. And
We put the ethics officer in there too. It's a separate.
Yeah, that's a separate
position.
And then we also formalized what you've really kind of been doing, and that is that in November is when you would elect the board chair to take
January 1.
To take the chair on January 1, just so that it's clear.
Because it wasn't clear before.
No, and usually it's around when we did it, but now we've just memorialized it, that that'll be the process. So there's no question about it.
So I would recommend to the committee to approve it, subject to full board approval, and then submit it to the membership at the annual meeting.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, and then with regard to the charters, Mike said, yeah, these were the charters that we did review before. We separated audit and finance. And then the revised governance committee, all that does is it made it clear that the chairman would appoint the chairman of the committee, just like the other committees, to be ratified by the full board. If you could, move those, then we could get them before the full board. And if there's any changes we need to make, we can do it. It'll be in the packet.
Move to approve the revised charters.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Is that for all three? Charters?
Yep.
Jim? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All in favor? Did I say that right?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And yes. Venue, we've already discussed that. Keynote speaker. Staffing update.
Martha and I did meet with a gentleman who recently moved to, I guess he's been in the area since 2019. He comes with a very, very impressive resume of being in private equity. His wife is an artist. They have 2-year-old twins. And he was met with us because he had heard about what we do and thought he's not yet at a point where he wants to go back to work full-time in the rat race of high finance and private equity. And was there something he could do to work here where he didn't really care what he was paid? Martha signed him up to be a technical assistant provider. I told him that I would send him the job description for the economic development person. At this point, my thought would be that it might be something where we did it on a project basis as opposed until I find someone full-time, because I just don't think long-term it makes sense to find that, you know, oh, in 2 months I'm going back to New York City. But at the same time, if we see some interest and as it relates to doing a couple of projects for us, that he has some interest in perhaps making a longer term commitment, we could explore that. And I've done that several times over my career where, you know, come see if you like the kind of work we do, and then let's talk about whether it's a job that you really want to do. But very interesting guy in his mid-40s. Obviously did very well in the private sector to date.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, we sent the 2 job descriptions to the president of St. Rose College, where 600 administrative staff and faculty are going to be out of work at the end of the school year. And we've reposted at the industry job boards. We found that, you know, doing newspaper ads or doing Indeed or Monster doesn't work. You get people from, you know, all over America and the world wanting to work remotely. And I understand a lot of those are really people scamming you somehow. I haven't figured out what the scam is, but so we're also talking with accountants, attorneys, insurance brokers in the area, Columbia County. I mean, it'd be ideal to find someone who lives in the county and to and have someone living in Great Barrington or Delmar. But I'm not convinced that it's worth hiring someone because we're panicked. We have to do it as a process or you end up not getting the right person. So.
All right, thanks. Other business?
Enough, you've been here for over 2 hours.
Thank you, everybody.
We should vote a raise on our.
Second.
Double the board salary.
And I, you know, I do appreciate your sensitivities and